So this page is basically a one page website, you can say, which is made with pure HTML. So we are gonna make this from the scratch and on the go, like, understand what are the elements in HTML, the most common ones which you'll use, and how you can use it. And after we are done doing this won't take a lot of time. You can very easily do it. You'll understand it quite easily, that how you can make this and stuff. And once you are done with this HTML, we are gonna dive into CSS and make this better. And this is how it looks after CSS. So this is pure HTML and this is CSS. If you add CSS into this, it looks like this. So after this basically session, you'll have a basic understanding of both HTML and CSS. And yeah, tomorrow we'll add some JavaScript in another project. We'll do it it's a proper, you can use that project also in your day-to-day tasks. So yeah, that's what CSS does. Yes. HTML is like, if I just give a weird maybe bio analogy, HTML is your skeleton, CSS is your basically facial features and everything on top of your body, and JavaScript is the brain. So that's what the three basic.
Nice, that was awesome. How about we just get started now, I guess?
Yeah. So I'll just share you guys a starter file. It's a zip file which has the images and the content of what we are gonna do. The starter file, which I'll wait just a minute. Anyone with the link copy? It's a zip folder. You can just download it. It has all the images and the text which is there on that project which we are gonna do. So you can follow along and code alongside. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So I'm just gonna open that thing in VS Code.
One small tip, if you are in some folder, you can just open command prompt and type code dot or something. That is something I got to know really soon.
Okay. So I hope you guys have your
I guess I have
yes.
joined just now. Like, you can tell him about the zip.
Hey, safe. So we are just gonna make a small not a landing page, basically a one-page thing, which will enable us to understand HTML and CSS. So these are just the starter files for it. So you can get the content and the images which we are gonna use on that website from this zip folder. And you can code alongside in VS Code or any IDE which you are using. Okay. So I hope you can see my screen. I have opened VS Code here, and I'll just create my first file. You can create a new file in VS Code from here. You can click on the new file, and I'm gonna create an index.html file. So all the HTML files have a default extension of .html, and the CSS have the default extension as CSS.css. And I'll just okay. I'll tell you about the structure of the HTML and how you can even get the structure. So it's basically, if you type one exclamation on VS Code, you can get this and press enter, you can get the entire structure of the HTML. So this is just the basic structure of the HTML, which says that doc type HTML basically it says to the browser that this is HTML5. HTML language EN, it says to the browser that we are coding in English language. The stuff will be in English language, and these are just some the UTF-8 is the basic character set A to Z which we use in our English language. And title is basically I'll just open this and show you. So yeah, title is basically the thing which appears here on the top. And we have the head. So inside the head tag we have all those things and the title, and then inside the body tag we code the main stuff, whatever will be displayed on this white viewport. And if you guys don't know how to open this on your Chrome browser, there are two ways you can use to open this. One way is you can directly go in your folder which you have created the file index.html, and double click it. It will directly open it in Google Chrome. And another way is that you can use a VS Code extension called as Live Server. So if you go on the extension tab and search for Live Server, yeah, this one. So you can install this extension called as Live Server, and once you install it, you will get a. You'll get a prompt here to go live. In the bottom right, on the bottom right, you'll get a prompt to go live, and as soon as you click it, it will open it on in the browser. And this will like as you save this file, it will automatically get updated whatever you have done here. So you can use that too. I'd recommend you use this Live Server because in the earlier method you'll have to reload the file every time to see the changes. Well, so let's get started. So I'll just open the, just a minute. So yeah, if you guys have joined right now, so this is the layout which we are going to create just using HTML. Right now, we'll create the entire layout from scratch, and I'll tell you about the different elements and everything. So let's go now. So as you can see that we have also you can get all the text content here in the file content.txt, which I shared in the zip folder. So all the content and the images are there. So you can copy paste from there. So yes. Okay. We have a title of the page as the basic language of the web. So I'm just going to write it in the title file there. And yeah. So now let's talk about the first element, this code magazine. So we have a lot of header elements in HTML. They range from H1 to H6. So these are basically to showcase what headers you have on your page. So I'll just type an H1 element here. So this is basically the main heading, and the you got elements from H1 to H6. So H2 might be your subheading and stuff. So you can, just a minute. So yes, these are all the H elements from H1 to H6. So you can see on my screen that how it goes lower down the order. Like H1 is the topmost thing, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. It is usually a good practice to have only one H1 element per page in your HTML thing. You can have multiple H2, H3 elements or whatever as as your project requirement is. So this is basically the h1 element, and let's just copy the thing. Okay. So yes, the code magazine is an h1 element, and after the code magazine, you can see that you have all this. This is an h2 element, and these are all like the elements. Apart from the bold ones, are all paragraph elements. The paragraph elements are just plain text you write. It's a p element. It's just self-explanatory paragraph thing. So you write paragraph elements there. So after H1, I'll show you how the H2 also, basic language of the web. So this is my H2 element here, and as you can see that we uh we have one, two, I guess these are H3 elements if I'm not wrong. So we have one H2 element, and we have one, two to three H3 elements. So let's write the text first, then we can basically configure those links here. There are these are four links. How to, how you can insert links into your HTML file, how you can insert photos here like this, and how you can basically make this text, bold, italic. We are going to look at all this. So let me first quickly write all the paragraph elements here. Also, you might be wondering that my tags are auto closing. This is also an extension. Like, you don't have to, like, open close every tag. So just for an example, if I write p, my the p tag auto closes it here. So you can also download this extension called as auto close tag. I hope that's the name. Yeah, auto close tag. So auto close or auto rename, I guess. Auto rename, auto close tag, both are fine. But I guess VS Code automatically does it right now. So I'm not really sure if VS Code, if automatically without the extension it does, then cool enough.
Yeah, I think it
It does.
does
Okay.
from.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. So this is basically my H3 element called what is HTML. So we are just writing all the text which is there, and this is pretty simple. If you guys have any doubt here, please let me know. Like, if you didn't get what are the elements and how it works here. And once again, we have all the these are the paragraphs here, and this is something different. I'll come to it here. This is basically called as an ordered list. Like, you can see we have one, two, three, one list here and second list here. So what this is known as ordered list. So ordered list basically has like numbering from one, two, three, or maybe Roman numerals. You can also take Roman numerals, whereas this is called unordered list, which has bullet points here, and you can obviously format those bullet points too. Like, by default it is a circular bullet point. You can even format those and see. So let's move on and write the rest of the p tags and the content.
I had a doubt.
Yeah.
Do people actually use H5 or H6? Because you can just use a paragraph, right?
Well, yeah, it's really small. I have never
Yeah,
honestly gone beyond maybe H4. And yeah, these are basically just for telling the user key. Okay, if you go into CSS, you can obviously alter the font size and see key. Okay, H1 is just for making the user sure key. Okay, this is my HTML. This is my heading element. It also, this semantic HTML elements also helps in search engine optimization. I'll come to that later, that how you have to basically create blocks in your page so that it helps. It will be basically beneficial if you do it, and it will help you when you create big projects there. How to basically uh, dif- uh, I guess, yeah, in how to basically separate your one page into different sections so that the browser understands it properly.
got it. Thanks.
So now, as I was talking about here, the list. So you can't be you can obviously write those 1, 2, 3, but obviously if you have a thing which does it for you, you won't do it, right? So instead of writing those 1, 2, 3, you have what called as ordered list in HTML. So let's show you what it is. So this is basically ordered list, and inside, like, this is the tag OL. It stands for ordered list, and inside, if you want to type the list elements, you have to write it inside an li tag. So an li tag basically does that, and yeah, you see it automatically came as the first one as Isher. It starts with like one only by default, and it goes in the numerical order. So this is basically the ordered list which I was talking about. And quickly write this here. If you guys have any doubt, let me know. Also, I forgot to tell you about this extension. It is pretty cool. If you don't have it, please download it. It's called as Prettier. So it automatically formats your code. Prettier. It automatically formats the code so you don't have to. Okay, so this is again a link. So we'll come to that later. Now we are done with almost half of the P and everything tags. So let's now look at how to design links here. I have 4 links called as blog, challenges, flexbox, and CSS grid. So to basically write a link in to enter a link in HTML, most people confuse that there is a link element, but no, yeah, there is a link element in HTML, but that is for connecting your HTML file to another file. So there is an anchor tag in which you can write basically links and stuff. So since my 4 links are below my H1 element, I'll create there only. So a tag is basically the tag to make links here. I had a block, so let me go ahead and
Can you also show later on like how to do the Roman thing for 1, 2, 3?
Yeah. Sure, why not?
You should, can you just like revise whatever you have done because Siddharth joined just now, so
Okay.
you can just revise the tags a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just repost the drive link there, the starter files.
I joined, like I don't have the link. You
Okay,
you
wait.
can repost.
I did it, no worries.
Okay. Got it. Hi Siddharth. So we were just talking about the basic HTML tags, and we are basically recreating this one-page template. So by this, we are understanding the basic HTML tags. So we talked about the basic HTML layout. The HTML layout has a head file which contains the title and all the meta gasket. This is all. You don't have to remember all this. If you basically type an exclamation mark in VS Code and press enter, this will be automatically generated by the VS Code for you. And then after the head we have the body. So body is where the main stuff, all this stuff goes under the body element, body tag. And then we talked about the h1 tag, the h1 to h6 tags, which are used to show the heading, which are used to basically show the heading. So this is the h1 tag which we are using, and these are all the paragraph elements. So paragraph elements, as naive as it sounds, is just a basic text element. So the p tag is used for that. So any text element you want to create, you enclose it under the p tag and write it. And there are, as I said, there are apart from h1 there are h2, h3, h4 element also. So those are basically for the subheadings. So in on one page you can have basically maybe one heading and a lot of subheadings. So this is basically my main heading, and this is my subheading. This is my subheading. This is a subheading. So this is an h2 tag. You can see the difference that h1 tag is much bigger than the h2 tag, and h2 is bigger than the h3 tag. So from h1 to till we have till h6 here. So this was it. And also one thing we discussed was creating an ordered list here. So for when you want to basically create a bulleted list or maybe a numerical list, so we use an ordered list, the tag of an ordered list, OL it sounds for. We enclose all the content of the list inside OL tag under the LI tag. So as you can see, this is the LI tag, and I have opening tag, closing tag, and the actual element, like three elements in those in the OL thing. And yeah, and now I was just discussing about how to create basically links here. So to create links, we have the anchor element. So this doesn't seem like a link here because we have to basically, the anchor element has a lot of attributes. So we have to give the anchor element an href attribute here. So the href attribute, basically you can point this to an external website link, or you can also point this to basically a file inside the link. So let me just show you. Let me just do it. I'll just create a new file called as blog.html here, and I'll just do the basic thing so that you can see. I'll create an h1 called as blogs, and I'll give the href the address of a blog.html, which is basically blog.html. So it shows this href is now this anchor is this basically blog is now pointing to my a blog.html file. As you can see, the color of the thing also changed, the element. So now you can see that this is a link, and if you click here, it will go into blogs. So that's the thing. And also you might be wondering that this went on the same page. This went to the other page in the same tab. It didn't occur in a different tab. Online you might see that when you click on a link, it redirects to your different tab. So if you want to redirect it to a different tab, you have to use another thing called as target and underscore blank. Target underscore blank will ensure that if you click the link, it will open in a new tab. So yeah, so this was our blog thing. Now let's quickly create the four links we have here: blog, challenges, flexbox, and CSS grid.
Hey, thank you for revising that. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If you have any doubts, please tell me because I won't be looking at the chats. Like I won't be able to look at the chats. So please tell
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. By the way, you guys from college? Like, what college are you guys from?
We are from Thakur College.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay. So one more thing, if you guys have like if you do not want to basically this link is basically empty. If you can see challenges flexbox CSS grid. So to do that you have to put href attribute as an hash. So this determines an empty link. So the browser will know that okay, I don't have to go anywhere. I have to stay here only. So yeah. So this was about the links. And if you want to see how you can go to an external link, let me just try www.google.com. I think it works like this. Okay, let me see. I guess you have to enter the entire thing. I'll show you it in the MDN web docs thing. We have another link here, MDN web docs. So yeah, it redirects you to the MDN web docs. So MDN web docs, if you don't know, it's basically an official documentation of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You can have a look at those to understand the various tags and stuff. So now let's also design this link. After that element, okay. Okay, you can learn more at. Okay, so now I have to make a link inside my paragraph element. So my MDN web docs is basically the link and it is inside the paragraph element. So you can obviously put an anchor tag inside the paragraph element. For now, I'll just put an hash here and put MDN web docs. So we can do it like this and okay, let's see. Okay, yeah. And I'll just put the entire link of the MDN web docs so that you know that. Okay. So this is MDN web docs. I copy this link from here and I paste it in place of my hash. Yeah. And I also give it an attribute as I said earlier. I'll give it a target attribute which says blank, so it will open it in a new tab now. Oh, it didn't get reload. Wait.
Could you share the link here?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So as you can see, it is now opening it in a new tab. What we did for blog, exactly, it's the same thing. So now let's make this final component and then we can basically deal with images and how to add images and stuff. And we can make this large component too. So I'll quickly make this final component. component here. It's the same thing. This is an H3 tag. Why should you learn HTML? And these are my paragraph. And this is, as I said, there is an ordered list. This is an unordered list basically. So I'll just quickly make those things here. Obviously, you don't have to remember all of this. These are just this. Everything is just an internet search away. Like, so you can just you can obviously refer the MDN web docs, or you can even refer to W3 schools. They have everything there. I'll be obviously sharing all the resources after the session gets over. By night, I'll send the summary of whatever we did today, and how like the resources too. So let's now create an unordered list here. Unordered list ke liye the tag is UL. So for ordered it was OL, unordered it is UL, and the same LI tag we'll create. So the LI tag is basically the list elements. So we can just use that. So we are done with the why should you learn HTML section 2. Here's how it looks. You can see. So this were basically all the text related things which you have. There is obviously more which you can explore and see for yourself how it looks and stuff. Let's now insert some images. We have an image here after my H2 element here. So now let's look at the image tag. So to basically insert images, you have the IMG tag, which stands for images. Title, okay, after H2. So image is a bit different from the regular HTML tags. As you can see that the regular tags have like an opening tag and a closing tag. Image doesn't have a closing tag. So to close image tag, you have the syntax is this. Everything you do will be inside these two things, like image and this closing thing. And to basically now enter the image, you have an attribute called a source. So in this source, you have to mention where your image is present. So I guess it's here only. .jpg, if I'm not wrong. Yes. So my source is here. It's in my same folder. It's in the same file. So you can just write the name of the image file. And okay. So now I have the image here. And as you can see, like this is basically a big image. If you see the original image, it is like 128 by 128. We'll just make it smaller. You can even mention the width and the height of the image inside the image tag only. You can give it a width of 50 and a height of 50, so that it fits and looks good. Yes, now it looks much better. And do remember that whenever you are putting an image in your website, you have to give it an alt tag. This is a very good practice because an alt tag is basically helpful when, for example, if somebody has a slow internet and cannot load the image. So instead of the image, the message in the alt tag will be mentioned. And this is also helpful for blind people or somebody who is using a screen reader. So they can basically get the description of the image. So I can just say that photo of Flora Jones as an alt. So I'll just show you how it works. So for example, I have a problem in this code. I edited the source. My source is now wrong, so the image will disappear right now, and my alt tag will appear here. See, my alt text photo of Laura Jones I had written here, so it will now appear, and it just so that the person knows that okay, there is a photo in here. So it is very necessary you use an alt tag whenever you are dealing with images. So now we're back with the image. So this was about the image tag and how you can enter images in your website. Okay, so as you can see here that I have my name here in bold. So there are also different tags you can use to make this. Before HTML5 there was a tag called as B. It still works if you see a B tag, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Yes, I auto close this. So B basically signifies ki, okay, this is my bold element, and yeah. So this, but after HTML5, it is recommended that you use strong tag. So the difference, there is no difference. B and strong, they both are the same. They bold the text. So the difference is just a semantic HTML. So strong tag is basically more. If you hear the word strong, you can basically determine ki, okay, this means that you are bolding something. So that's the only reason that they have introduced a strong tag. So it is clear to the user ki, okay, strong tag mein, it means that you are bolding the text or doing something like that. And we also had, if you notice, we also have H, T, M, and L as the bold thing. So you can basically even apply this tag on a single letter, which will make them like bold. So I'll just do the same thing. So now my H will be bold here. That's the strong does, and we also had something in we had something in italic here in fundamental. So to change your elements from normal to italic, you have the em tag. So like fundamental, if you basically wrap your word inside em tag, you'll get something in italic. So yeah. So this was the strong and the em tags which you can use to, if you want to basically signify a text or gather users attention, you can use that. And okay, yeah, I forgot about this image. So we have this image here. It's the same process now. Like what we did for this image, we have to do the same thing here. And so my image source is, I guess, post image. Let me see. Yeah, this image is also quite big, so we'll reduce its width and height. You can do it within the image tags only here. It's 120. 120 is too low. This is 1000 by 400, so let's make it 400. Better. And I'll make it a square image, so set the height also to 400. And not forgetting the alt tag, and just write HTML code, which is there in the image. Ooh, it looks bad now. But it's okay, I guess we can do. Well, yeah, better. So I guess we are done with most of the HTML parts here. Okay, this related post is left, but it's okay. We can do that later. So this was basically the all the basic HTML elements which I think you should, it will be good that you remember this. These are the basic HTML elements. The rest of the elements you can obviously search on the net and stuff and do it. And also I'll be touching on the fact about semantic HTML tags. At semantic HTML elements they are called. So semantic HTML elements are just some elements which gives some meaning to the code. So they won't change, they won't basically affect your page visually. So for example, if you see this part, this is basically what you can call a nav bar. You go on, if you go on any site, you can see that they have a nav bar here. So this is basically my nav bar. So to to signify that okay, this is my nav bar, I can put a nav tag here. I can enclose the entire thing in a nav tag. So let me do, you can see, you can see that it won't basically affect the appearance of the code at all, but it's just a good practice to do it. So yeah, so this was basically this it I'm just telling my browser ki okay, this is my nav bar. And yes, I guess, and after the nav, this is basically my main body. It's called, you can call this an article basically. So you have another tag called as article, which signifies that okay, this is basically my main body after the nav bar. So you can enclose it if you want inside an article tag. So I'll just close it right before the body ends. Oh, I thought I copied. Okay. Oh, okay, the H1 element changed. Just a minute, guys. Did I change the H1 element? Okay, my bad. I should have. My bad. I should have put the nav here. Okay, yeah,
That's funny.
auto close tag. Yeah, this auto close tag does this. Yeah, body. I have my nav for closing. I have my nav for opening now. Okay. Array, okay. I'll have to just.
I think you can just take off this.
Yeah. Okay. So this is basically my nav elements, the blog, challenges, flexbox, and CSS. These are my elements of the nav bar. So this goes under my nav tag, and you can put your, if you want, you can put your put this entire thing in the header tag. So this is basically your main header of the page. So this entire thing, which I called, is the main header of the page. So that was my fault. I confused it with nav here. You can put this entire thing in the header tag. Control X. And
I had a doubt.
yes.
What could be the difference between header and the navbar?
So okay, so nav bar basically it just signifies ki okay, block, challenges, flexbox, and CSS grid are elements in my navigation bar, and header is basically ki jo like right from the heading to everything in the nav bar comes in my header. After the header, my main article or the body thing starts. So that's what it does. This is basically just for, this won't make any changes visually. As you can see, it's the same thing here. This didn't change anything in visually. I've read that this is very useful in search engine optimization, like Google does it, and this is also useful when if somebody uses a screen reader again, so they can basically the AI or whatever is used, they can differentiate between the things and they can read the relevant parts and stuff. So this is used for that, and it is a good practice to do it before. This was actually introduced in HTML5. Before HTML5, you can enclose everything in div. So you must have heard of a div tag. So div is just a block. It also doesn't make any visual changes to our code. You can enclose everything inside here in a div thing, in a div portion. So yeah, it's just a block. It doesn't do anything. It is just separating your code, and you can basically, a div is basically also used for styling. You can give it different class names and style it. So we are gonna move on the styling part right now. So this was all the basic HTML things, the paragraph, the li element, all the stuff. So I'll just in a minute I'll just move on to the CSS part. So if you have joined right now, this is the thing which we are gonna use, which we are gonna do with CSS and make it like this. So I'll just paste it here. Okay. Okay, so CSS is it's basically stands for cascading style sheets. It is used to style the elements which is inside your HTML, and there are actually three ways in which you can create CSS in your file. The three ways are inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS. So what inline CSS does is, so I'll just show you an example of how you can style it using inline CSS. Okay, this is the main file. So in inline CSS, you enter the style attributes inside the element itself. So for example, if I want to change the color of my h1 tag to blue, for example, let's see, yeah. So you can see the color got changed to blue, but this is the thing which you should completely avoid. You should never style your elements in this way because it will all get clustered. This is a very small code. Once you start writing big codes like 1,000 lines, 1,500 lines codes, this you'll realize that this gets very clustered, and you might not be able to differentiate. Okay, where is my HTML and where is my CSS? So this you should completely avoid writing it. So this is the inline way of doing it, and the internal way of doing is basically creating a style attribute inside the head tag. You have to create a style element, and then you have to basically select the elements. For example, let's select my h1 element again. So I'm selecting my h1 element here, and I am giving it a color. For example, again, let's see. Okay, let's do this color. So you see the color got changed. So this is still differentiated. Like you can see that it is not getting clustered and all, but this is still obviously not as great. I wouldn't suggest this too. The best way is to create a new CSS file and link your HTML file to the CSS file and then do your work in that. So we are gonna use that only to do it. So you can basically create a new file called style.css with the .css file extension, and then let's let's change the color of my h1 to blue. Okay, it became, the original color was black, so it turned to black. So now the problem is my HTML file doesn't know that okay, there is a CSS file inside the folder too. So you have to basically connect this both HTML and CSS files. So to connect that, you basically use a attribute called as link. So link, and you basically mention the name of the file in the href tag, in the href attribute. So my name of the file is style.css, and rel is basically you are telling the browser that this is a styling file, a style sheet. So this is obviously not compulsory. rel style sheet, that's just telling the browser कि okay, मेरा style वाला tab है, file है. So yeah, now you can see my CSS got connected, the CSS file got connected, and my color got changed to blue. So these are the basic ways to write CSS in your document, and this is the most preferred way of doing it, which is the external CSS. So in just a minute we'll start with the all the css things which we can do. We'll first start with the styling of the text elements because that's the most easiest thing to do. So we'll style the h1 element, then we can style this. We can change the font, we can change the font size, we can change the font color. You can even choose a different font. I'll tell you how you can do that. Then we can go on and style the links here. You see this link, as I hover over it, the entire look of the link changes. Even when I click it, I guess it will, yeah. Once I click it, it changes. So how you can do that, we'll look into it. So yeah, this was the basic things in CSS. We'll just get started with CSS right now. If you guys have any doubt, please let me know.
I usually see sometimes dot there in style sheets, like dot and then something is written by.
Okay. So I'll tell you this. Okay. So that are basically called as, when you create an element, I'll show you. It's usually the syntax is dot and some maybe header, let's suppose, and yeah. So this basically signifies that header is a class in your thing. So we haven't created any classes in your HTML thing, so let's do it. It's no problem. We'll let's give our okay, let's give our header only a class. So like this you have to give it inside your header tag. So header may you type class and you give it a name. Suppose main header. Okay, let me give it as a main header. Okay, now now basically, if I have to select this class and if I have to style this entire header thing, I can style it by using this class called as main header. So the syntax is, you put a dot and you write the name of the class which you created, dot main header, and then suppose you need to change the font size for it to maybe 40 pixels. This is not the file. Okay, yeah. So the entire header file got changed. The entire header element got the size got changed to 40 pixels. So this are class, and there is one more thing called as ID. So a difference between class and ID is that you can use this same class main header in multiple locations. Like I can basically write my article. Maybe I can write class as main header, but ID should be unique. Like id does the same thing. Id, maybe you create a new id. For example, let's see, id, I'm creating an id, I'm calling it as main, and now let's style this using the id. And to style it using an id, the syntax is hash. So you write hash and you write the id, and then maybe let's change it to 10 pixels. The difference between classes and ID are that you can use only one ID. The ID name should be unique, and the classes you can use multiple class names. And the one more difference between class and ID is the preference. So CSS gives an ID more preference than a class. So now let's uncomment this, because now let's see what happens. Okay. So now if you see that my main header and main are in the same header class. So now we have to see that what CSS does. Does it changes the font size to 40, or it changes the font size to 10? That's the thing to look. So if I reload it, you can see that my font size is still 10. And now let me change this font size to maybe 20 pixels. Okay. So, okay, this changed my font size to 20 pixels, which this basically proves that my ID has always a higher preference than a class. So this is how you can, use this element. ID will always have a higher preference than class. That's the thing. Okay. Whew, okay. So now as you can see that you have a lot of spaces between these elements. This H1 element, this block challenges. There are a lot of spaces between this, and I need to get rid of all the spaces because I want to create everything on my own. Like I want all the margins to be zero, all the paddings to be zero. I want to create everything on my own. So I have to. There is a universal selector which you can do by using asterisk. So if you style things inside the asterisk, it will be applied to the entire body. So let me just make the margin and the padding to be zero. So if you guys are not aware of what margin and paddings are, margins are basically spaces between two elements. So okay, you in my page reloaded and you can see all the spaces are gone here. So what is it is all clustered. It looks very bad. We'll obviously change it in some time. So what does margin means? Margin means that a space between my code magazine and this block challenge, this thing. The space between them is called as margin. And padding means the space within the elements. When we'll apply a padding, you'll obviously understand it in a better way. So first, let's and also this is a good practice to do because universal selector has the least preference. So as soon as you apply margin or padding to something some other elements, the it will change and the universal one it will override the universal preference. So now we'll get started with styling the text elements. So as you can the H1 elements and all the text elements here. So let's do that first. Okay. Okay. So let me first style my H1 element. So this is basically I'm selecting my H1 element. If you guys don't know what I did right now, it's just I'm selecting my H1 element and I am telling my CSS file ki, okay, I have to style my H1 element, and whatever I write within this curly braces should be my styling order. Like I have to do this basically. So let me change the font size of H1 element to 20 pixels, 26 pixels. And let's change the font color to, I'm taking a blue color, I would say. I have just a minute. Aqua. Not the same color, wait. I think I have the color here. 98 AD, yes. So changes my text color to this blue color. Then I can also, transform this into uppercase or lowercase. So text transform does it for us. If you do text transform uppercase, it will change everything into uppercase. So if you see, whenever you type a new thing now, like for example, font family or font weight, let's see font weight. VS Code will give you a ton of options you can choose from. You can obviously search it on the net of how to do and what to do. And let's also change the font family now. That's an interesting thing because you have to basically import different font families, which I'll come to now. So I can basically write sans serif here, which is the basic font which comes here. But if you want to get some really good fonts, or if you have ever edited a Word document, you might see Times New Roman and all the different fonts. So to get those fonts, you'll have to go to here Google Fonts. I'll show you right now how to do that. So once you go on Google Fonts, Google Fonts, browse fonts. For example, I need to use a Times New Roman font for my website here. But you don't have Times New Roman? Okay. Let's see. Let's take a random font which we see. Okay, let's just take Roboto here. I'll just full screen it. So, okay. So once you can basically see the different weights of the font they have, and to import it into your document you have to select this style here. Click on select this style and you can see use on the web. Use on the web mein you have a link here, link rel thing here. So you have to copy this entire thing, link rel. I'll also, if you want, I'll just share it here too. Yep. So you have to copy this here and you have to paste it in your HTML document. Okay, you have to paste this in your index.html under the head file. Where under the head you can paste it anywhere in between the head tag, and also you can see that they have mentioned CSS rules to specify font family Roboto sans serif. So you have to do that too. So okay, oh, where is it? So see, I can just paste whatever Roboto sans serif here. If you want, I'll paste it for you too. So I'll tell you what does that mean. So Roboto is basically the font which we will be using here, and we always provide an alternative font. So for example, for some reason Roboto is not available. There might be something wrong with something. Roboto is not available, then the by default the font will change into sans serif. Sans serif is the default font. Every PC, every basically browser, and it has it. So it will automatically be changed to sans serif. Now let's go to our website and see if our font got changed. So yeah, you can see the code magazine the font got changed to Roboto. Doesn't look too good, but it's okay. We'll just use Roboto here for now. So yes, that was about changing font family. You can get different font families, and you can basically look at what font fits you the best, what font fits the best for your website, and change that. And so this was basically the H1 element. Now we can also see the H2 and the H2, H3 elements. Let's style those two quickly. I'm selecting my H2 element as usual. I did in the HTML in the H1. Let's see font size, maybe 35. Okay. Then H3 may I'll do H2 maybe I'll just change I guess the color is okay. The color is the same as this. H3 my font size is let's see 30 and color is the same. I've basically done changes to my H1, H2, and H3 elements, and now you can see that okay, yeah. So now you can see that my code is getting repetitive. You see the H1, H2, H3, all three have the same color. The font color is the same. And it is not a good practice to write it 3 times. Like it's obviously you can do it in one go. So if you to do that, you have to select multiple selectors. So you can do that by doing H1, H2, H3. So this means that select all the 3 H1 elements, and you can put the color as this, and now you can remove everything like all the color things from the H1, H2, H3, the separate elements, and you can see that same here like the things. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. So this was the basic styling of our the font elements, or the font elements, the H1 elements. And now let's see what should we style next. Okay, let's do okay, sorry. Let's make this layout the nav bar layout which I was talking about. So as you can see, we have a small border type thing on the top of our file. So how can we get the border? So in CSS you have another property or whatever you call it, which says border, and you can easily get this border in the thing like using CSS. So, and this border you should like, this is in my body. So I will you know make this specify this border in my body tag. So in my body tab, I'll have a border top basically, because the border is at the top of my page. Border top mein I can, so border top has basically three parameters. Okay, so the first parameter you have to put is the thickness of the border. So let's see what thickness we can. Okay, we can do 10 pixels ka border. The next parameter is basically the type of the border. You have solid. Oh, okay. I guess okay. Next is the color of the border. So my color is the same as this color. So I'll just copy hashtag. And my last parameter is basically the yeah, what was I saying? The type of the border, solid, or a line by line or whatever. So this is basically a solid line. Yes. So now we have a solid border on the top of our body page. Okay, yeah. So this is how you just, if you want to create any borders, you can even have a uh, border bottom, which will do it on the bottom of the page. So let's do 10 pixels. Let's have a red color border and a solid border again. So if you can see in the bottom of my page, I have a red color border. So this is how you basically create borders here. And okay, so yeah. So I want to basically specify my font for the entire page. Like for the entire thing, I want to specify a specific font. So we can do that in the body tag, because as you can see that body ke andar hi you have all the tags. So whatever is there in the body will automatically be applied to everything which is inside the body. So body is our main thing. So body ke andar, if I change my font, if I, for example, change the font family to sans serif, so you can see that सबका font change हो जाएगा, like inside the body सबका font same हो जाएगा. And you see the H1 का body didn't change, the H1 का font didn't change, because H1 मैंने H1 के लिए अलग से specify करके रखा कि नहीं, मेरे को इसके लिए font family roboto चाहिए. तो then it will see कि okay, H1 के लिए roboto है, so it will give H1 roboto only, and बाकी के लिए it will change everything to sans serif. So this is how you can change the font family of every element at once here in the body tag. And let me just even change the color. I guess let's give yeah a grayish color to all the paragraph elements here. So as you can see again, this color was not impacted for H1, H2, H3, because my CSS knows कि H1, H2, H3 के लिए मैंने अलग से color दिया है, which is bluish color, and it got impacted in all my paragraph elements, जिसमें ये नहीं था, like color नहीं, like कोई color नहीं था, like main black ही था. So that was the thing about the borders and the stuff. Now, let's also do thoda margin ke साथ stuff, because this all looks a lot clustered, and let's make it a bit look good. So for margins, so basically I told you what margins are. Like margins are basically ये दोनों के बीच का distance, like code magazine और इसके बीच में, या for example ये image और इसके बीच में मेरा क्या space रहेगा, I can define using margin, top, bottom, left, right, and stuff. And let's do that. Okay, so मेरे H1 basic language इसके नीचे, let's inspect element and see. Basically, okay, inspect element is a great tool to see the margins and stuff between in your website. Just go to inspect element and click on the header, I guess, or click on basically basic language H1. Yeah. So yeah, this you see the yellow portion, the orangish portion that signifies the margin I have here. So yeah, you can do that. You can see I have a margin bottom here of 30 pixels. So I'll quickly change all my like put all the margins so that it looks better. So H1 mein I'll put a margin bottom of 30 pixel. Then I have same H2, maybe I have a margin bottom of 30 pixels. H3 may also I have a margin bottom of 30 pixels. Okay, looks better. H2, H3 कहाँ है? Okay, let's give it a margin top 2. थोड़ा अच्छा दिखेगा. Okay. Then guess which one is well, we still have to do a lot of things in the paragraph elements too because it is all obviously a lot clustered right now. So let's focus on the paragraph elements here. Let's select paragraph, and first I guess we should look at the font size. Font size, I guess 20 pixels might be good enough. Let's see. Okay, yeah, better. Font size 20 pixels. Then I'll also give it a property of line height. So line height is basically the height between my this line. Oh, sorry, the height between my this line and my this line. Like the height between two lines is basically line height. Line height of 1 point. Like by default, the line height is 1. You can obviously increase it so that it looks better. Line height 1.5. Then after each paragraph, let's give it a margin bottom too. So that will look good. 15 pixels. Yes. Looks better. You can see that ये elements change नहीं हुए because this is not under the paragraph tag. This is under the list tag, which we will also modify. The unordered list and the ordered list, which we'll also modify. So let's do that. Doesn't look good. The list. Let's modify the list too. The unordered list and ordered list. So I'll select my UL element, and again I'm using this multiple selections because I want to do the same things on both my unordered list and my ordered list. I'll give it some margin. It is way too stick. It is like sticking to the screen on the left. I'll give it a margin left of 50 pixels here. Then okay, let's see. It looks good. Okay, yeah. Margin left of 50 pixels. Then I also need. I'll also give a margin bottom of 20 pixels here. So okay, yeah. This I did this basically. इसके बीच में मार्जिन आ गया और इसमें एक मार्जिन आ गया 20 पिक्सेल्स का. And then now let's style this li elements. Like these are basically, if you forgot, my opening tag, closing tag and stuff are inside this li elements. So I'll have to separately style those li elements so that it looks the way we want it to look. And we'll give it a font size of 20 pixels. And we can give it a margin bottom of maybe 5 pixels so that it doesn't look clustered. Okay, much better. Much better. Okay. It looks so. P में I think paragraph में I should also give a margin left. पैराग्राफ में is there a margin? Okay. Okay, one more thing which which we can do is, see, if you see this layout now, this is centered on the screen. Like, see, this is basically, I'll just do full screen. This is in the center, and this is not, like, this is not centered at all. So we have to use CSS to make it, like, do it, like, basically center the element is what I mean. Center my entire website, I would say. So to do that, we have to create another div element here. I'll show you how we can do that. Okay, so let's enclose my entire.
Ishwar,
Yeah.
we have one question from Shiv. Anam has answered it, but just check it once if you have something about that.
Okay, so H1 H2 are used to point to part of our. I didn't understand C's question. So H1 H2 all are used to point to a part of text for writing CSS. So okay, H1 H2 is, see, if you see H1 H2, you can say that CSS में you can obviously change those font size. It doesn't make sense, right? कि okay, मैंने H1 बोला, H2 बोला, मैं H2 को H1 से बड़ा भी कर सकता हूँ. H1 H2 is just मेरे HTML में मेरे को ये पता होना चाहिए कि okay, H1 stands for my main header. So that's the basic thing कि it stands for. तुम CSS में उसका size बड़ा कर सकते हो, छोटा कर सकते हो, कुछ भी कर सकते हो. You can change it any way you want. But it's just कि मेरे HTML में मेरे को ये पता होना चाहिए कि okay, if somebody is going through my code, they need to know कि okay, H1 is my main heading. I intend to use H1 as my main heading. That's the thing. H2 I intend to use as my subheading. That's the thing. Okay, let me. So I was talking about centering our entire web page. So I'll just create a div element here. Div is nothing, guys. It's just a container element. It's just, nothing visually will change. I just want to add a class. So I'm creating a div element here inside my body element, and I'm giving it a class name of container. I'll work upon this class name to center my entire web page, and okay, div should be just, yeah, I think so. It makes sense. Okay. Okay. So now let's style this container element so that we can container class so that we can make our website to be center. I want to fix the width of this thing. Now, if you can see, it is taking the 100% of my width, this entire thing. So if I if I tell my container element ki do, like, set my width to a fixed width of 800 pixels. So now everything inside my container, and basically everything inside my div will be restricted to 800 pixels. See, you see that this lines were first going all over, going all around. Now it is restricted to 800 pixels, and this is just and this is, now I'm gonna set a margin here. So okay, I also didn't talk about this way of creating margin. So as you know that there are 4 margins, like margin top, margin top, margin bottom, margin left, margin right. So if you, for example, if you want to set all the 4 margins now, you can obviously use margin and put 20 pixels. So this will basically set 20 pixels to all the 4 sides. But for example, you want to have different margins for top, bottom, or left, right. So for example, you have 10 pixels for top, bottom, and you have 20 pixels for left, right. So this is a shorthand operator. So for example, if in my first parameter, I have to give the margin for top bottom. So top bottom is 10 pixels, and left right में I have to give 20 pixels. So this basically signifies कि top bottom में मेरा 10 pixels है, left right में मेरा 20 pixels है. So that's a short way of writing margin. So now if for centering I have to use टॉप बॉटम में मेरा 0 रहेगा और लेफ्ट राइट में मेरा ऑटो रहेगा. सो व्हाट डज ऑटो डू इज ऑटो में बेसिकली माय सीएसएस इज टेलिंग माय ब्राउजर कि भाई तू यू कैन लाइक तुम खुद ही मार्जिन सेट कर लो. जैसे जैसे यूजर का ये देखो अभी इट ऑल केम इन द सेंटर. सो जैसे जैसे आई शो यू जैसे जैसे यूजर का इसका साइज चेंज होता रहेगा तुम खुद ही लाइक उसको आगे पीछे करते रहो. यू ऑटोमेटिकली डू लेफ्ट एंड राइट के मार्जिन. So that is that is the way I'm doing it in the center. So yeah, this is just a short trick. I guess there might be more ways to center your element. And yeah, as I said, I guess somebody also mentioned text align center. So you can use text align center, but text align center you can use under certain elements. Like अगर तुम्हें कोई पैराग्राफ को या तुम्हें कोई H1 टैग को कहीं सेंटर पे अलाइन करना है, तो यू कैन यूज दैट फॉर कोई टेक्स्ट एलिमेंट को सेंटर में अलाइन करने के लिए. बट टू इफ यू वांट टू बेसिकली अलाइन तुम्हारा पूरा दिस वेबसाइट सेंटर में, तो यू कैन यूज दिस लाइक दिस थिंग. Okay, so now let's finally style this links. This links look very blah. I mean, it doesn't look good. So let's style the entire link, and you can see that I have a nice little background here in my header thing. So we'll also style the entire header thing. So header mein we can put a background and we'll style those links here. So yeah. Okay. VS Code. Yeah. I'm just giving my header class दिया है मैंने main header. Okay. So I'll use this main header का class to style my entire header element. ऊपर ही करता हूँ. Okay. So मेरा एक मिनट, let's see क्या क्या करना है main header में. ये background देना है. Then okay. Font. Let's give it a nice background color of a gray color. I have the gray color 7 F7 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 F7. Okay. So this is just a light gray color. You can see कि पूरे background को like वो पूरे header element के background को वो color आ गया है, background color. Then और क्या है? और okay, let's also give it some padding. Top bottom पे मैं 20 pixels I'm putting and 40 pixels I'm putting on left right. I'll just visually show you what padding does. Okay. Inspect. Where is inspect? Okay. So ये मेरा येलो वाला बॉक्स जो मैंने बोला था, दैट इज मेरा मार्जिन. कोड मैगजीन के नीचे वाला मार्जिन है वो. एंड इफ आई सी ये जो ग्रीन वाला, आई शो यू. यस, दिस ग्रीन वाला थिंग यू सॉ, this green is basically my padding. So मेरे inside the element I can give a padding of तो थोड़ा like it basically saying कि 20 pixels top bottom में से आप अंदर आओ और 40 pixels left right में से आप अंदर आओ. So that's the thing. This is basically my green element is the padding here. Yeah. So I gave it a padding too, and I guess this like ये yeah थोड़ा सा इसमें भी there is a margin bottom. I suppose I'll put a margin bottom too of I guess 60 pixels. Yeah, looks quite good now from what we had started. Now styling those links here. So I'll just tell you what the different types of styling can do it in links. तो एक तो ये है कि like links ऐसे कैसे दिख रहे हैं, like मेरा blue color के links है, whereas इधर मेरे color different and there is an underline coming, so we can remove that. And then one other thing is when you hover around the link, see when I like keep my mouse over the link, मेरा लिंक बेसिकली अंडरलाइन हो जाता है एंड दिस ऑरेंजिश कलर कम्स राइट. एंड और एक चीज होता है व्हेन यू विजिट द लिंक. सो कभी कभी क्या होता है, इफ यू माइट हैव सीन इन सम वेबसाइट्स कि तुम अगर कोई लिंक पे क्लिक करते हो ना तो उसका कलर चेंज होता है, समथिंग और द अदर थिंग हैपेंस. सो वी विल आल्सो सी कि उसमें क्या होता है कि व्हेन यू क्लिक ऑन अ लिंक उसका लाइक कलर चेंज होता है और समथिंग लाइक दैट. एंड ऑल्सो व्हेन यू लाइक इफ यू माइट हैव सीन कि जब मैं क्लिक किया जैसे ही दिस link का element, the background got changed into a black color. This doesn't look that good, but this is just एक visual representation के लिए कि मैं अगर click कर रहा हूँ तो भी तुम change कर सकते हो. Like while clicking मेरा italic हो गया text और background black हो गया. So these are all the things which we are going to implement in links right now. So styling links, मेरे ए टैग में है. हाँ, एवरीथिंग इज इन ए एक्सरेफ. So this is how I select a link, like the link element. So I'm selecting A and I'm giving it an, I don't know what it is called, but it's called link A. You have to specify कि okay ये जब भी मेरा basically लिंक पे बेसिकली मैं जब ये इस बेसिकली कि मेरा लिंक विजुअली कैसा दिखेगा. लाइक वेन एवर अ पर्सन ओपन अ वेबसाइट, ये मेरा लिंक है, ये स्टाइलिंग करना है मुझे अपने लिंक पे, तो आई हैव टू स्टाइल दिस लिंक नाउ. सो वॉट एवर आई पुट इन हियर वो मेरा विजुअल रिप्रेजेंटेशन आएगा लिंक पे. सो लेट्स चेंज द कलर टू द ब्लू कलर विच वी हैव बीन यूजिंग. And also let's change the, so okay, as I told you कि देखो इधर कोई underline नहीं आ रहा when I visually see the link for the first time, whereas by default when जब तुम कोई link define करते हो तो browser उसको underline कर देता है to showcase कि okay ये link है. So okay, ये color दो बार है क्या नहीं. Let me see. So एक minute, I'll just do one thing and I'll explain you what I did right now. Why is the color not changing? I think I made some mistake. Just a minute. Color. Hmm. 1098 AD. Okay, so I'll just look into why the color is not changing of my link. But I removed the text decoration, as you can see. That happened. Like वो underline अभी चला गया है. So this is the property. Like text decoration में by default वो underline पे था. And now I removed it and told कि मेरे को कोई text decoration नहीं चाहिए. So I did it to none basically. So इसीलिए वो underline चला गया है. Now to change how it looks when you are hovering around the link, you have to do the same thing, a colon, and you have to write hover. Hover comes here. So this will determine how the link changes when you hover around it. This one, the color change हो जाता है and stuff. Ooh, I think yeah. Okay. Hover में let's change the color to orange. Let's see if yeah it's working. Okay. तो as you can see कि जैसे होवर किया मैंने लिंक का कलर चेंज हो जाता है. So that was the only thing we had in hover का thing I guess. Okay, underline भी हो जाता है. Okay. So let's change the text decoration to underline again. So underline. Okay, makes sense. And now we have to do this. ये जब भी अपन like when the user clicks on it तब क्या होता है. So उसके लिए भी एक है. It's called as so उसके लिए भी we have something called as visited. So no, sorry, it's called as active. Okay, visited I'll show you. Okay, I'll also show you visited भी करना ही है. So visited I was talking कि when a user clicks on the link तो link पूरा like whenever a user click on the link उसका color like change हो जाएगा or something like that happens. तो अगर तुम्हें वो change करना है तो let's change the color to maybe black तो अच्छे से दिखेगा. Gray I guess. Also okay, it's 4:38. I didn't even realize कि इतना time हो गया है. And I'm so sorry. I'll just wrap up the session in like 10 minutes, guys. That's the links wala thing will sort. Let's look at कि active में पहले let's achieve कि ये वाली state में. So my background color gets changed to red. मेरा text italic हो जाता है and the color is the same. So active में let's change the background color to black. Then let's change the font style to italic. Font style italic. Okay. So as you can see कि मैंने इस पे किया तो ये चेंज हो जाता है like the color and the font style. Let me get rid of this. I don't know why I might have messed up something. It's like you can obviously search on Google for everything and you'll find a lot of like answers that how you can do this and how you can do like stuff. And let's also थोड़ा सा एक clustered है. Let's also give this थोड़ा सा margin to the right so that it looks good. So उसके लिए I'll just do I guess nav में ही है ना मेरा. Okay. Since I'll do a margin right of 30 pixels. So if you didn't get what I did here is कि मैंने basically मैंने ये बोला कि मेरे nav में a link को select करो, a के link को select करो. That's what I'm doing. तो वो मेरे nav के a link को text को select करेगा ये वाले syntax में. It will move the margin here. Yeah, margin right 30 pixels now. Let's also change the font size. Font size को थोड़ा बढ़ा सकते हैं अपन. 30 pixels ज़्यादा हो जाएगा, but okay. Yeah, doesn't look that good, but let's do 20 only. Okay, yeah. So this was the styling of the links here, and yeah, we didn't create this one related post wala thing. I don't think abhi thoda like there was time constraint and I thought ki CSS was तुम्हें थोड़ा like CSS I could have shown. So I like this is obviously not, we didn't make it perfect. अब देखेंगे तो like not the same, but yeah, we were close to make something like that. And so this was the basic CSS which we applied. I know कि maybe it doesn't look that good, but it still looks better than the plain HTML code. And I'll be very honest that you can do tons of things with CSS. CSS is very deep. I haven't even got to the point of flexbox and float of CSS, like how to make components of CSS, because that's a bit complex. Like it comes after you are done with basic CSS, you can look at the CSS different layouts, which is called Flexbox, CSS Grid. Float is also a CSS layout. Like you can use floats to make different CSS layouts, but वो थोड़ा old हो गया. Like after Flexbox, it feels like Flexbox ही use करना चाहिए. So this was achieved. This is basically one page of entire HTML CSS, nothing else. Uh, this does look decent, not obviously perfect. This is the perfect thing which I was intending to make, but no problem. We'll definitely, do more stuff in the future and see what we can do. So yeah, if you guys have any doubts, please tell me. Like if you followed it, and I'll just shift here. Don't ever use that. It can be changed in. Yeah. Yes. You can modify all the H1 tags. So वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना कि H1 basically बस मैंने नाम दिया कि ओके ये मेरा H1 का टैग है. If I want to modify H1 tags, H2 tags मैं modify कर सकता हूँ बस इसमें वैसे करके. If you see वो font size में तो वही मैं बोला कि you can definitely change everything in CSS. Like तुम पैराग्राफ का ये सब कुछ भी change कर सकते हो. That's the thing. So, and I'll be very honest. कि CSS is not easy to master CSS. I mean, to be honest, मेरे को Flexbox से ज़्यादा आता, मतलब कुछ मैंने भी खुद ने अच्छे से नहीं किया है. Flexbox is the last thing I know in CSS. CSS में CSS grid भी है, which you can make, which you can use to make layouts. So, okay, I'll just stop presenting. Yeah. So you can use that too. But एक genuine वाली thing about CSS is if you, unless and until you want to go very deep in CSS ना, you should explore CSS. Like if you are enjoying कि हाँ मेरे को CSS करने में मजा आ रहा है, you can do it. But एक point के बाद if you're just starting with web development, अगर आपने HTML के थोड़ा सा समझ लिया, and you got the basic CSS. Basic CSS क्या कि मैंने जो अभी margin के बारे में बताया, I talked about a bit of padding, and then margin padding, background color हो गया, font size हो गया, font weight हो गया, how to change the font families. These are all basic CSS. उसके बाद तुम एक basic CSS में you can also consider creating layouts like flexbox हो गया, CSS grid हो गया. ये सब समझ लिया, it is good enough, I would say. उसके आगे भी there is a lot of CSS which if you want to you can go deep into it, you can understand CSS कैसे करना है, कहाँ से करना है. But if you like थोड़ा complicated हो जाए, but obviously आज के time पे a lot of frameworks and libraries are used. Like CSS में you have Tailwind CSS, you have Bootstrap. So एक शॉर्ट में मैं बता देता हूँ what is Bootstrap. अभी मैंने जैसे सेंटर करने के लिए 2-3 चीज की है, राइट. लाइक ये सेंटर करना था मेरे को, समझो, तो मैंने 2-3 डिव में क्रिएट किया. तो बूटस्ट्रैप मेरे को एक प्री डिफाइंड वो दे देता है कि अगर तुम्हें सेंटर करना है तो जस्ट यूज सेंटर वर्ड इन इट. यू जस्ट हैव टू यूज सेंटर. दे हैव प्री डिफाइंड लेआउट्स, प्री डिफाइंड बटन के लिए चीजें, हाउ टू स्टाइल अ बटन. So there are, like, for example, button में if you want a primary button, they have different designs for primary button, secondary button. तो तुम्हें खुद से कोड करने की जरूरत नहीं है. You just have to basically use उनका जो भी documentation read करो एक बार. There is Bootstrap. You can get started with Bootstrap, or you can, after, if you feel comfortable with Bootstrap, go to Tailwind CSS. Tailwind is a bit more complex. थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा समझने में. Documentation read कर सकते हो, videos देख सकते हो. Yes. Those are also things which are like, वही मैंने बोला कि CSS का जो भी frameworks हैं, that's the thing. Because obviously कि इतना time नहीं है कि you create every element from scratch now. Because you have to look at the main logic of the code. You have to code JavaScript भी अभी. So yes, CSS में basically आज के ज़माने में a lot of frameworks are being used. So yeah. So this was basic HTML CSS. I'll be just making some short summary on Notion, and I'll post the link by night. And I'll also give you some good resources कि अगर you want to actually get started कि okay मेरे को कहाँ से करना चाहिए, क्या करना चाहिए, you can get a feel of कि okay कहाँ से करना चाहिए and stuff. So yes, if you have any questions, like, you can post it here, you can speak up, anything.
About all that, we will post the summary of the session, so you will get all the resources and the links down
And
there. And the
Kal,
session.
yeah, I was just saying ki Kal will just, we won't waste a lot of time on HTML, CSS. I'm thinking of making a to-do list kind of thing. So that will require more of JavaScript manipulation. So you can do tons of stuff with JavaScript too. So I'll just introduce some JavaScript manipulation in tomorrow's thing. So yeah.
Maybe what you can do is you can like give them the screenshot of the to-do list, and maybe they can try to make it using HTML, CSS
Oh yeah,
by
actually
looking at
yes.
it. Like, and then if they have any problem, you can solve it in the first half, right?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
It will be like a task for them.
So it has already been 4:48. Let's
Yes,
take a
sorry for.
Yeah.
screenshot if possible. Everyone can just turn on their video, and yeah, you can post it anywhere. Whatever you learned, you can tag us if you want to tag. If you don't want to tag, you can just
And if
don't tag it.
somebody has not attended the meet, and if they want to join tomorrow, we'll be like releasing the summary, so they can read through it and like try to do the task and join the session.
Right.
I'll just take a screenshot. Yeah, I took. Okay then.
Okay,
Bye.
then time to spam Ishin and let's leave. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, sure. Okay, sure.